Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Betsy McDaniel, and today we're in Beaufort talking to Bridges Preparatory School. And our guest today will be Interim Head of Schools, Chris Wilson, Board Chair, Dee Matthews, and the Vice Chair of the Bridge Board, Marty Miley. So please stay tuned for 843 TV, where communities come to speak.
.843 TV, where Bluffton comes to speak.
Where Spring Island comes to speak.
Where Hilton Head Island comes to speak.
Where Beaufort comes to speak.
.843 TV, where communities come to speak.
Welcome to 843 TV. We are talking all thing Bridges Prep today, and joining me for our first segment is Chris Wilson, who is the Interim Head of Schools. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for
having me. And Dee
me.
Matthews, who is the Bridges Prep Board of Directors President. So thank you for being with us. We're excited. It's a busy time of year, wrapping things up, and I know you just got finished with spring testing, so tell us a little bit about how that went and looking over this school year, how the kids are doing academically.
Sure, we just finished up about a month of testing, probably a little over 5 weeks of testing between our MAP testing scores, our SC Ready, SC Pass, also our EOCs and finals for our high school students. Right. And I got to tell you, the teachers really get nervous when it comes down to that. Sure. And but I was excited as soon as each person would finish their test, a teacher would come out and talk about a specific student. So and so raised their goal. I'm so proud. Or my whole class, did this, reach their goal on their MAP scores or something. So it was a rough 5 weeks, and but everybody's happy they're done, and I feel like they did a very, very nice job.
Sure, and I think one of the things I like about the MAP testing is you do get that immediate feedback for both the teacher and the student, so they know that they've achieved something that year, which is kind of exciting for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of academics, you guys are moving next year to have an 11th grade as well, so we're doing some growing. And as we're doing that, some questions have maybe come up around the community that I think you want to address, and talk to us a little bit about your accreditation as a school.
They are. We're moving to the 11th grade. We will have 11th grade next year, and then 2020 will see our first graduating class, and we are most excited because they will be in our new facility. All of that does make for excitement, and I mean not just with us, but with the public, with the students, with their parents. And one of the things that's come up, and it's come up a couple of times recently, is questioning the accreditation. Bridges is a fully accredited school through the South Carolina State Department of Education. We have some things that will be going out, but you can go to the South Carolina State Department of Education's website, find all of the information on us pertaining to our accreditation, and we just wanted to emphasize so that we could maybe put that rumor to rest.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. It's an exciting time for you guys. So, and with growth sometimes comes a little growing pains. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges with student behavior, dress code, things like that. What has happened with that this year, and how are you addressing that?
Well, as you can imagine, with more students comes more issues. Kids are kids. They're going to push the boundaries, and yes, we have dress code issues, especially towards the end of the year. They're done, the teachers are done. But each case with behaviors, with dress code, you have to handle each case individually and make sure that you're doing what's right for the student. But we deal with those on a daily basis. Another challenge that we've had is going from one administration to another and just trying to make sure that myself and Dr. Herbst, who is the assistant head of schools, did not start the year in this position, and so we had a lot of research to do on some of the students that maybe had some issues in the beginning. Okay. But I will say overall, I believe our discipline referral numbers from this year to last year, I think we are down quite a bit, so we're excited about that.
That is exciting. And so you mentioned that it's been a different year because you've had two administrations stepping in January from the former when the head of school left. So what are you most proud of having accomplished in that transition time?
I'm still alive. That is,
congratulations.
Yes, it has been an interesting 6 months since January. Dr. Herbst and I took over. And we have really kind of dove into what Bridges is about. How are we doing with our academics? How are we doing with special education, with GT? What is the curriculum going to look like at the high school for our upper level classes? And so we realize we've got a lot on our plate. We're a new school, 5 years old. Some of the policies and procedures that might be in place at say another public school that's been around a while, we're looking to start building those policies, and both of us have a strong desire for great academic success and really pushing our students to their full potential.
Yeah.
And on behalf of the board, I would like to say that we're very pleased with what they've done. They came into situations, Chris is right, in which there was some questionable procedures or policies that needed to be adjusted. I think they've come in, I think they have done it. The relationship that they have built with the teachers and with the students has been the phenomenal thing, because that is something our school was missing, that actually where the principal knew the students' names, could call them by name, knew the teachers, and that the teachers felt like, at any time the principal would walk in, or the head of schools would walk into their classroom, speak to their students, check on them. So it's been really great. They've done an outstanding job.
Well, and I think that's so important with any school, is to have the collaboration between the administration and the teachers, when you're really working together and not fighting each other.
And a lot of the credit needs to go to our teachers. We have a fantastic staff. We're planning for the future. We have a few that won't be joining us next year that have moved on to some other things. And so we're pretty excited about some of the new hires that we have for next year.
Excellent. And so for now, for the next few years, you guys will be operating in three different school sites, I should say. So from a leadership and management perspective, what kind of challenges does that create for you guys?
Quite a few. If you can imagine being the boss, I guess, of all of these people, but they're not in one place for you to go talk to them or to address them. And so when it comes down to teacher evaluation, when it comes to student behavior issues, we have we will have Dr. Herbst and myself. So there's two of us. We have a new hire that I'll announce later that will be filling in as our assistant principal or dean of students for next year. And so we have the capability to have administration at each building. So we have always had Mr. Tim at Celadon with our K through 2, and he does a fantastic job over there. So the challenges are for us space. Our Boundary Street campus is pretty packed, and we're going to be fitting into 12 rooms for our high school campus next year.
And I don't want to cut you off, but we're out of time for this segment, but there's a lot more to come, so come back to 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. As we talked about in our first segment, there is a lot of growth going on at Bridges Prep, and so to give us a facilities update, we have Marty Miley, who is the vice chair of the board for Bridges Prep, and of course Dee Matthews is still with us. So thank you for being with us and joining us today, Marty. So we are growing, and we are going to add an upper school, so starting with 11th grade next year. So give us kind of what's going on. You're getting close to the start of construction, I think.
We're getting close to the start of construction. We have bid out 2 phases of the project, one being the modular portion of it, and then the site work phase. Site work phase bid last Tuesday. We received 2 bids. They're slightly over budget, but within means of our contingency. So we're in the process of negotiating with the low bid contractor to bring prices down. So we're in the process of waiting on USDA to give us the go ahead to release the site contractor to start. So hopefully that'll be sooner than later.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so you mentioned the modular classrooms. So some of the students are going to be in the modular classrooms this term, or when the school season starts in the fall. And so what does that mean for those students? Where are those located? Tell us about that.
Those will be located on the campus off of Highway 170, where the upper and the middle school will also be built. That will house, and Dee will have to answer that. I can't remember which grades, but
8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th will be there next year. And the modulars probably don't make them the happiest because, again, we call it the learning cottages. But I think what will be an added enhancement to their being there is the construction for the new facilities will be ongoing. And while it will not disrupt the classrooms they're in, they will get to see that. So I think that will be an excitement too. They'll know it's coming.
They kind of,
yes.
They get to see little sneak peeks
exactly.
every day. Yeah, okay, excellent. So, and that's what I was going to say. Where will the other grades be housed when that's going on?
3rd grade through 7th grade will be at Boundary Street at our campus there, which has been our main campus. At any rate, early childhood K through 2 will be housed at Celadon, and it's been there for several years. And we have a really good relationship with the people at Celadon. So everything right now is moving into place pretty well, yes.
Yeah, okay, excellent. And so for the viewers who aren't familiar with, and maybe me who isn't familiar with, getting permission to do this, how do you go about getting the permits that you need, the review process to build the new school? Tell us all about that.
That's a very long and cumbersome process. You have to start with notifying OSF of your location, who then in turn brings in SCDOT, which is South Carolina Department of Transportation.
Right.
They review your site and then give you the go-ahead to say that you can put a school in. There's a lot of due diligence. You have to do environmental studies, you have to do surveying, you have to do concept drawings, then you have to start notifying your local municipalities, which would be the town of Port Royal in our case, make sure they're okay with the school going there. The biggest thing we had to deal with was SCDOT and our entrance into our site. But you still have to go through Beaufort Jasper, SC&G, Hargray. There's tons of things.
The list goes on and on.
And then you have to be applying for your loans through USDA, which is a whole nother set of rules and regulations that you have to jump through. So.
Wow. So have you been in charge of all of that?
For the most
Or
part,
mostly?
yes.
So you've been a very, very busy man.
Yes.
But it's exciting. It is really exciting. So give us a little bit about what we can expect once the school is finished.
Once the school is finished, hopefully we have tons of children that want to come in and go to school and get a top education to pursue their college education dreams.
So for people who might not be familiar with Bridges Prep, tell us a little bit about your mission and what it is that you bring to the table for students.
Our mission is to have a whole child education. We use Paideia methodology, we use STEM, and we have, Chris alluded to this earlier when we were talking. Our teachers have been phenomenal. They are lifelong learners, so they guide these students, and they have been the anchors in our school. As any new school comes about, there are a change in heads of schools. I mean, every new school has had it, and frankly, some of these older schools have changed administrators quite frequently in the last few years. But it's getting that right person there. But the teachers, when you have those anchors, right, and they have that relationship and they're good and our school is very good, all you have to do is ask the stakeholders. Rarely ever would you ever hear someone say a negative thing about the school and how their children are treated and the education. It really is very good.
Well, and that's so important to have a great reputation in the community.
Yes, it is.
And I know in our first segment you mentioned that you had just finished with testing and EOCs. So when you say EOC, that does mean that you have classes that are honors level and maybe even college credit level, things like that.
Oh, yes, we do. And as we go on and we talk about it a little bit, I would allude to that. We will have some advanced classes next year. We're working on that, our scheduling. And I guess that's probably as Chris comes back into the picture,
Yeah,
and we
talk
talk
a
to
little
them
bit more
about that.
about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're excited about what's going on. We really are.
Yeah. So when are you hoping to put a shovel in the ground for this upper school?
My hopes was last week, but we're shooting for next week. So we're waiting, like I said, we're waiting on USDA to give us the go-ahead to do that process. So hopefully site contractors on go, everybody else is on go. Modulars are in the process of being fabricated, so just waiting on USDA.
Yeah. So it really is any minute. So we're really excited about that. And you'll have to share some pictures of the first shovelful once you have them.
We hope to have
Within the next 5 days, we should have a big sign up that's going up. So we're excited about that, so people will see it. And Marty has taught me a lot. I had no idea the longevity or the bureaucratic red tape that goes into it. And he doesn't like for me to say this, but he is the tide that floats our boat.
Well, thank you for all the work that you are doing.
You're welcome.
And we'll be back with lots more on 843 TV. Stay with us. Welcome back to 843 TV. Joining us again is Chris Wilson, the interim head of schools, and my trusty sidekick for the whole day today, Dee Matthews, the board chair. So we are going to talk a little bit more about the growth that you guys are having. And so next year you will be kindergarten through 11th grade. Tell us about how you are approaching that with your curriculum.
Sure. Our curriculum next year, of course, we have to add some 11th grade courses.
Right.
We are partnering with TCL for some dual enrollment courses, looking into offering some AP classes that kind of goes along with some of the logistics of scheduling and facilities, which we'll talk about soon.
Yeah.
We are starting a new reading curriculum at the younger grades, I believe 1 and 2 right now are going to be starting a new reading curriculum next year that with the new Read to Succeed legislation we feel will be impactful on our students. I think that's about all.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's interesting to me that you're saying with TCL for 11th grade, because I know a lot of the area schools do that for senior year, but you're going to be maybe able to offer that for 11th grade as well.
I believe even our 10th graders are eligible for it, to take dual enrollment college courses for credit. They have to take the AccuPlacer and score high enough in reading mathematics, and if they score high enough, then they're eligible to take those courses.
Yeah.
And we have some extremely bright young people, some students, we really do. So to open the door for them at the 10th grade would make sense and would only be, what our parents and stakeholders would expect because of their needs.
Yeah.
And we are working on, we will be transitioning to a block schedule, a true block schedule,
Okay.
4x4, which will enable them to have more credits per year earned and give them the ability to take dual credit without it infringing on their actual academics for high school.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
just think that is so exciting that the kids that really deserve that opportunity have a way to get that opportunity. It's a great program. And so are you still a STEM school?
We are still a STEM school, and that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I think most of the 21st century teaching is going and expanding to that. We have a lot, and I would love to add this. We have probably as many females participating in these classes as we do males, which is exciting for everyone. But we have a great curriculum with, again, the Paideia methodology, which goes to the whole child education, and along with the STEM to take them into the competing with an ever-growing and ever-challenging global society. So yes,
Yeah.
we're working hard to make sure we have everything they need.
So
Yes.
they can get even further advanced than I am in technology, because I feel so far behind of my kids and all the kids that are coming up now. It's just incredible what they're learning. It's really exciting.
Yes.
So you guys in the last 5 years have gone from 300 students to over 700 students. What do you attribute that growth to, and how are you handling that growth?
Handling it sometimes is tough because you outgrow. What we have done literally is we desperately need our new facilities because we do not have probably an inch to grow. We don't have another room to put another classroom in as it exists at the current sites at this time. So this is fundamentally an absolute necessity for us. But the good part is that we really can fill those classes, and our charter would actually love for us to add. We have 3 classes in each grade. Our charter, because of the growth of our students and their academic accolades, would love for us to be able to offer 4. And possibly as the future grows, we may. But the pains, I guess, of the growth are making sure you have the faculty to meet those demands of the new classes and the new subjects and have everything ready for them. We have a lot of technology and want to even put more technology into the hands of our students. So there are some growing pains, as with any school, but we're working pretty diligent. We have good leaders, so I think we're moving along pretty well.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think you're doing a great job, obviously, but what do you think makes the school so appealing to people?
I think, for me, I was hired a year ago, and when I walked through the doors at Bridges, I felt something that that I hadn't felt in some other schools, and for me, the best way I can describe it is it feels like a family. And the teachers know the students. They have 23 students in their class. They get to know their students very well. We have a lot of involved parents, and it really does make for a great educational environment when you have that kind of support and that kind of small class size.
And obviously, one of the things you're trying to do is to keep that class size small. So like you said, with having 3 classes in each grade, but maybe then moving to a 4th so you can keep that
To
number
keep,
that way.
keep those
Yes.
those individual class sizes small.
Yeah. And so you are starting construction, we talked about that in the last segment, on the upper school on Robert Smalls Parkway in Port Royal. So what are the plans to bring other grades to that site?
Eventually, all K through 12 will be on that site.
Okay.
We purchased enough land to do that. We actually are looking at some additional land for athletic needs and just for general parking, to be very honest with you. But we do have the plans drawn out. The high school, middle and high school will be the first segment.
Okay.
Then the elementary school will be put on. And again, we think that when it really gets there and people actually see it, and we want it to have a wow factor because we want it to look as good on the outside as it is on the inside.
Sure.
So we're all very excited for that. And we do, those plans are eventually we'll probably have over 900 students, to close between 900 and 1,000 when we have all the grades, and they'll be housed there. So yes, it is exciting.
It's really exciting.
And I wanted to mention, no school gets started without OSF's seal of approval, and OSF, we use acronyms all the time, but
Right.
that is the Office of School Facilities, and it is a state agency that really mandates everything any school does.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for all of the work that you're
Thank you.
doing to make this school great.
You're very
And
welcome.
we are excited to see the next phase, and we can't wait to see what the building looks like. Thank you for being with us on 843 TV, where communities come to speak.